practice. They are the two wings of the profession which must move together for flying to achieve the aims for which it serves the society. In fact, the roles of professional accountants in business are critical to the success of the enterprise. The confusion, if there is any, as to the level of competency between these two streams should be removed. In my opinion, we should have a unified syllabus, a basic level of education for both the streams. The specialization on the various practice areas should then be branched off. I hope we can work together to develop universal qualification among the member bodies of SAFA. This would not be any problem then in mutual recognition among the member bodies of SAFA. The gap between the two streams of accounting profession, divided the professional accountants and management accountants, should also be closed. Accounting profession around the globe has recently been undergoing massive challenges. There is an equally important need for professional accountants to design and maintain mechanisms to assure that effective, ethical, and responsible corporate governance. Restoring public confidence in financial reporting has become a national issue in each country and also an international issue with action required on both levels. Realizing the importance of a high-quality global financial reporting framework, providing investors with comparable, transparent, and reliable information, more and more economies are driven to the movement to converge towards IFRS. We should be moving rapidly to one world in accounting, auditing, and corporate governance. The global economic crisis has taught us many lessons. The depth of international independence has been more evident. The importance of finding international solutions is emphasized. The need for high ethical standards and stronger corporate governance has become more acutely felt. The accounting profession in South Asia should have credentials of a global stamp of quality. We need to think globally and act globally. Accountants' role has grown very significantly in the recent past, and it has been influencing the global economy towards progress and prosperity. They have to provide valuable services in the private as well as public sector of the economy. Sustainable development is a universal challenge that developing economies face as much as developed economies do. It's a complex challenge of finding right balance between competing demands of economic development, protecting environment from degradation for the benefit of future generation, and ensuring social stability. Sustainable development involves cooperation on a global scale to develop a way that benefits the widest range of sectors across borders and between generations. Sustainable development is about applying the principles of sound management to all our resources. It is about generating long-lasting positive results for the greater benefit of human societies. Economic growth has costs which cannot be ignored. Growth has also resulted in income inequality. Majority of people has not experienced tangible benefits, pushing them always back to destitution and injustice. This gave rise to political instability and disturbance in peace in many parts of the developing world. We are experiencing it so vividly in the region. It is very essential that the accounting profession is well informed of the challenges and of the progress that has been made in the study of the topic and the various avenues where the profession can and should contribute. This is a new area where the profession surely can actively contribute. Accounting is a dynamic profession and is continuously exploring new horizons for service to society. Acting in the public interest is a distinguishing mark of the profession. CMA for Sustainable Business. As the theme of this second CMA Global Summit is very relevant to the special time that we live in, I once again congratulate CMA Sri Lanka for organizing this summit. I wish it a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chitrakar. Now, we're very happy to also have with us the chairman of the Professional Accountants in Business of the International Federation of Accountants, and he was inducted into that position just last year, but for 37 years, until December 2004, Mr. Roger Tabor served the British Post Office, recently Royal Mail plc, and there were some significant changes that he was able to bring about in that organization. He's also served as a Vice Chair and later Chair of the UK's Public Health Laboratory Service Board, overseeing the transfer of its functions to the newly created Health Protection Agency. And he's a musician as well, but he speaks now to us on a topic far removed from music, perhaps. Roger.
Honourable Presidential Representative, Your Excellency, Mr. Secretary, Honourable Ministers, honoured guests, fellow accountants, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I feel greatly honoured to be standing here, and I am proud to offer the good wishes of the International Federation of Accountants, or IFAC, to you for a successful summit. We offer our compliments and our thanks to everyone at the Institute of Certified Management Accountants of Sri Lanka, to your President, Professor Lakshmana Watawala, and to your co-hosts for organising such a prestigious and potentially influential event. As I hope many of you are aware, IFAC, the world body of the accountancy profession, works in the public interest to help build our profession's support for sustainable organisations and economies. We sustain a strong focus on the successful operation of markets and economies by our globally recognised standards for professional accountants' education and ethics, public sector accounting standards, and for the way audits are conducted. But at this time, IFAC is also bringing increased focus on the way accountants who work inside business and public sector organisations can help create, build and grow sustainable value from within. So at IFAC, we are delighted that this year's Global Accountancy Summit is focused on creating, building and growing sustainable organisations. Climate change has become a defining issue of our era, and with this increased attention has come an increased demand for organisations and individuals willing and equipped to confront the challenge. Certified management accountants will be expected to take a lead in helping organisations, investors and other stakeholders see the wood from the trees by providing a clear narrative to explain an organisation's past, present and future performance and how they interrelate. Ideally, that performance will be increasingly more sustainable in an ecological sense, so that we can also continue to see real trees in the wood. And that is why coming together at forums like this to share best practices and stay up to date on the latest technical information is absolutely critical for both the accountancy profession and for our world. Professional organisations like ICMA Sri Lanka and the co-hosts of this summit are more valuable than ever before, and we need you to take the lead in sustainability. IFAC understands that supporting institutes like yours, supporting you, the accountants, is necessary not only to the health of the accounting profession, but also to its heart. Ultimate success will only come if IFAC and accountancy bodies like yours continue to work well together to strengthen our profession for continually increasing challenges. So thank you for inviting me to join you today. I look forward to a successful conference in which we work together towards a stronger accountancy profession and hopefully a more sustainable planet in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you too for some incisive remarks there. As has already been mentioned by Professor Watawala, we are deeply indebted to the Government of India for being vitally involved in this particular conference. And as already mentioned, the Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs for the Government of India is here, Sri Bandyopadhyay. And he's one of the stars of the Indian Civil Service, or better known as the Indian Administrative Service, and he's served there since the year 1974. And during his long career, he has occupied various important positions in the state of West Bengal. But when he arrived in Delhi, he worked in the Ministry of Industry and in the Ministry of Steel at different levels. And before joining as Secretary in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, he worked as Secretary, Department of Public Enterprises. And also he's organized workshops for Principal Secretaries, Secretaries of State Governments to exchange the experience of the Government of India in order to improve the functioning of state-level public enterprises. And also one of his specialties has been management of change. Thank you very much for the arrival here of Sri Bandyopadhyay, Secretary, Minister of Corporate Affairs.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Honorable Ministers on the dais, honorable dignitaries on the dais, the dignitaries and friends on the floor, my friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate the ICMA Sri Lanka for organizing this second Global Summit, and particularly choosing such an important and relevant topic as we are discussing today. I would like to express and convey the best wishes of the Government of India, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in the Government of India, and the Minister of the Corporate Affairs to ICMA Sri Lanka and all the participants present here, and wish to convey the best wishes of the people of India that this summit, the discussions, the deliberations in this summit will certainly be a pathbreaker and a pathfinder to the topics that we are discussing. Let me also explain that, as has already been told, the first global summit on management accounting was held by the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants in India in January 2008 in New Delhi. I am particularly satisfied to see that the sapling planted in Delhi is being further watered by ICMA Sri Lanka in Colombo at a time when the world industry is rediscovering the role of the CMAs to redefine the different crisis situations the whole economy is facing. I would like to emphasize the relevance of the renewed role and hope that the Global Management Accounting Summit to become eventually a biennial event with its objective resulting in good corporate governance, good corporate social responsibility, and account transparencies in favor of the society and humanity at large. The theme of the summit is the CMA for Sustainable Business. This topic has great relevance to the governments and the business sector, as the sustainability and sustainable development are shaping the business culture as well as the expectations of the society. Last few years, we have seen a growing focus on a range of economic, social, environmental, and governance issues. These shifts and trends place us in interesting periods of history. Never before in recent history, as we have faced the redefining times that challenge the fundamentals of human success and prosperity, experienced by 20% of the world and aspired by the rest 80% of the world. The priorities for action emerging from the multilateral platforms such as G20, which was earlier G8, and the World Economic Forum indicate an immediate need to tackle issues of current market failures and disbalances. The year 2008, as all of you are aware, has come to be recognized as the turning point. Beginning that year, a series of crises gripped the planet: the oil price spike, the world food shortages aggravated in various parts of the world, the subprime crisis, and finally the global financial meltdown. Besides this, we already had the ongoing problems like the climate change, loss of biodiversities, poverty, growing inequality. As the global societies and the governments grapple with these issues, it is becoming very clear that such global scale problems require a global effort towards the solutions. It is the crisis that usually make us sit up and push us to innovate and cooperate. Financial crisis 2008, for example, a recovery from its impact is underway, but many challenges remain and much uncertainty continues to cloud the business and the corporate scenario. In the global village that we inhabit, we can't be left unscathed by what happens elsewhere in the globe. Shifting our focus to various environmental crises now, the British Petroleum is of course the latest catastrophe that highlights the extent to which communities of human and the other living beings can be affected by the corporate actions or corporate failures. And this is just one example. We all know that we have to respond to climate change and global warming. On the other hand, the occurrence and likelihood of social tensions and crisis aggravating owing to the development activities also do not need any second guessing. The loss of balance among the three aspects, and I must emphasize this point, the economic, environmental and social, seem all to set to tip off if we do not respond individually and collectively now. So here is our rethinking challenge: how to share our planet with 2.5 billion people more by 2050, while factoring in that the way each of us, each of our companies and each of our countries use natural resources will affect the air, the rainfall, the land and energy available to others. How will we rethink the economic fundamentals of our markets and rebuild a sustainable economy to manage the world's environmental, social and financial scarcities? How do we get there, and what role can accounting play? In my view, and I am certainly not alone in proposing that a comprehensive accounting can play the role of a valuable compass in our pursuit of a sustainable economy. I would like to emphasize its strategic importance in the discourse of sustainability. Now, if we want to move to a sustainable world, we must know how sustainable our economic activities are. We need to measure the environmental and the social impact of our companies' operation, our government policies, of basically of human activities. They say that what can be measured can be managed, and what can be managed can be changed. And I second this statement that what can be managed can be changed. We will also not do ourselves much favor by a hindsight perspective when it comes to sustainable development, but we have to take some proactive measures so that the development remains sustainable. Responsible accounting, if I could put it in that way, helps us move from macro picture to micro scenario in a substantive term, and it can give us solutions of bringing about change in the firm's level. Firms use or exploit at least 5 capitals: natural, human, social, manufactured, and financial, whose efficient use makes a company successful and determines its long-term competitiveness. Question then is, can we and how do we ensure that the organization's financial measures reflect the value of the other 4 capitals? Is there a way to value intangible assets such as brand and reputations to better understand their contributions to shareholders? Could we internalize environmental and social cost and benefits and assign an economic value to them? That is the understanding that they are either assets or liabilities of the organization's balance sheet. Responsible accounting leads to greater accountability, which essentially means that firms acknowledge and assume responsibility for their actions, products, services, decisions, policies, etc. It is important not only to account, but also to communicate to the stakeholders the results of your activities. While communicating is part of ethical, and the speaker before me has spoken about the ethical and the transparent business behavior. Accounting per se can enhance risk management, risk assessment, and capabilities of firms and help them with identifying opportunities in all relevant dimensions, whether it is economic, social, or environmental. We sincerely hope that the CMAs will take further the sustainability of the economy and business at this critical juncture when the world is trying to recover from the aftermath of global meltdown. The financial accounting alone has not been able to successfully address the challenges of economy and business. Integrating sustainability into the accounting framework, which is a great challenge for the IFAC also, thus remains crucial for sustainable and inclusive business. We in India, we started to recognize the multiplayer role and the effect of the bodies like ICWAI, who through their training and courses can breed a new generation of sustainability conscious CMAs and can set foundations for measuring and managing impacts of business on this triple bottom line. The leadership in this region on this front has multidimensional impacts, essentially due to the multidimensional challenges facing this region. It helps us to be proactive in meeting and partnership with the governments, but also provide rich content and directions to the rest of the world through innovations and concerted efforts in the field. I am sure that the deliberations on these issues of the sustainable governance, risk management, strategy and sustainable business, contemporary financial management, and CSR and environmentals in different technical sessions during the second CMA Global Summit will be a path setter for future actions, for future activities to be generated, to be undertaken by various organizations in this area. I wish this summit a grand success and hope that the deliberations will highlight the different points and give all the governments of these regions and also show to the globe that this is the way the sustainability and the accounting CMA can merge together for the betterment of the whole world and the betterment of the people at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Secretary Bandyopadhyay. And you left with us a very memorable phrase: what can be measured can be managed, and what can be managed can be changed. So that seems to be the the recurring theme, I suppose, of this particular conference. Now, our chief guest has undertaken a searingly punishing schedule, which means he has to move away from here fairly fast. And so at this juncture, we would now, with respect, invite Dr. Sarat Amargama to address this audience. The Senior Presidential Advisor, Economic and Monetary Affairs, and now Acting Minister of Finance and Planning.
My friend, Mr. Lakshman Vatawala, distinguished members of the head table, excellencies, and all the distinguished guests present here today. On behalf of my President, may I say a warm welcome to you. We are very glad that the CMA is having its Global Management Accounting Summit in Colombo. He was looking forward to participating in this meeting, but he has to undertake a state visit to Ukraine. He left this morning and he asked me to specially convey his greetings and his good wishes to each and every one of you. I would also like to have a special word of greeting for our visitors both from the region and outside. We have just concluded a very difficult war, a 30-year war, but we concluded it completely and comprehensively. Now Sri Lanka and the city of Colombo is one of the safest places in the world. I think it is certainly the safest place in the region.